This is my positive reinforcement project. The problem behavior that I want to decrease is that when students are coming back into the classroom from lunch, recess, or specials, they tend to be loud and it takes them a while to transition to the next part of their day. While those times are exciting and a good opportunity for the children to have breaks from learning, they need to be able to stop themselves from bringing too much of that distraction back to the classroom. This leads to decreased learning time because they're spending too much time trying to get themselves together. There's also an increased chance for things to get out of hand. Students could get too rowdy and end up creating a mess in the classroom, or someone could get hurt. The behavior that I want to increase is the act of coming into the classroom quietly after something exciting happens. This way, instruction can begin sooner and the students will be able to get the most out of their school day. Instead of wasting time on the problem, it can be resolved and no more time has to be wasted. As far as organization goes, this would force the students to become more organized because they would want to know where their stuff is so that they can get prepared quicker. Safety-wise, it would help to prevent the possibility of things getting too out of hand. The enforcer that I would implement, there would be a point system that is kept on my computer for privacy. 1 point will be awarded to the individuals that come into the classroom and transition well. If the majority are settled, I will begin teaching and everyone else would have to pay the consequence of having to catch up if they weren't ready in time. Once a student gets 10 points, they would get a picture of something they like taped to their desk. At 20 points, they would get another picture, and then at 30 points, they would get extra time of something that they choose, like extra recess, or maybe there's towels in the classroom, they could have extra free time. And this idea was inspired by my 4th grade teacher who did the same thing with us because we had a lot of trouble transitioning. And he really liked soccer teams, so he broke us into groups and our soccer teams would get the point. So at 10 points we would get the logo, and then at 20 points we would get their jersey taped on their desk. But I want to individualize it to each student so that they could be motivated to get the picture so that they're displaying something that they like. The plan and how I will know it's effective. I'll know it's effective if the time that it takes for the students to settle themselves and prepare for the next lesson after leaving the classroom decreases. While all the students would get points if they're ready before the lesson, I would use latency recording technique. I would record it in a lot at the beginning, and then I would start decreasing the amount of times and do that only every so often. So then hopefully over time I'll see that initial time that they take from coming to the classroom to getting ready get lower. One accommodation that I think would be effective for students with exceptional needs would be a visual prompt, such as a checklist or a to-do list that would remind them of what they need to do to make their transition successful. So just simple steps like grabbing your textbook or sitting down, like stuff like that, so they can be constantly reminded and they have it on their desk to look at if they need it. For communicating and how I would get this across to my colleagues and the families, I think I would just send a simple email to the parents just to let them know what my expectations are in the classroom and just what's going on. And then the same thing for the teachers, I would just send that so that they know what my students would be expected to do, and especially to the specials teachers and the other teachers that might have lunch or recess duties, then they could just give my class, the reminder and be like, hey, don't get too riled up when you get back to class. Make sure you go back calmly and quietly and sit down and be ready to work. And I think that this intervention could be something that could be made into a grade-wide thing or even a school-wide plan, so that this way the whole school could collaborate and reinforce together.